We got a situation up in Delaware that's crazy right now, brother. Brothers are being lynched.
Oh, lynched? In 2012?
That's the same exact thing we said when we got the story.
So how'd you hear about it?
That's a good question. You know, there was a professor who was at Delaware State University named Dr. Jahi Issa. And to make a long story short, he was doing some research and educating the students on how they're trying to destroy and demolish HBCUs.
Oh, I went to Bowie State.
I went to Hampton University, so you know how the students were responding to that. And in the midst of sharing this information with the students, he stumbled upon the fact that they were actually lynching brothers in Dover, Delaware.
Oh, how come I didn't hear about this on CNN?
You didn't hear about it on CNN because this is an election year. Do you know who the state's attorney is for the state of Delaware?
Who would that be?
That would be Bo Biden. Bo Biden is the Vice President Joe Biden's son. So as you can see, this is an extremely political situation.
Understood. So what do you have to do with this?
We represent an organization called War on the Horizon. And what we do is we educate black people to the threat of white supremacy and teach our people how we can prepare for black survival.
No doubt. Much needed. Definitely going to check this out. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you, bro. Be safe out there, all right?
All right, got it.
And the time has come for the prey to become the predator in order to survive. Rest in peace, Malcolm Shaw, Oscar Grant, Sean Bell, and all the other brothers and sisters who were forced to make an early entrance into the Ogun. This we do in remembrance of you. For Black Wall Street, Rosewood, and the damn Jim Crow, 400 years, sweat and tears, Amadou Diallo, Tyson Miller, Rodney King, Red Nick, Popo, I'ma kill me a cracker, If the crackers wanna trip, I'ma let my thing grip. If these crackers wanna trip, I'ma let my thing grip. If these crackers wanna trip, I'ma let my thing grip. I'ma let my thing grip. One call, bring them all, wet brown, move me out, move them all, coming after y'all, every Africa, one shot and the cracker like stuff, to the strength of health, brother Herman Bell, blow up to the Hugo Fidel, R.I.P. brother Wall ain't no personally out my swim, so don't put that tone for my brother, Reggie Rose, since y'all disrespect this home, Central, and what you and low, no more marching down this shit, no more turning up the cheek, I do you, how you do me, I kill your ass on Black Wall Street, Rosewood, and that damn Jim Crow, 400 years, sweat and tears, I'ma do the yellow, Tyson Miller, Rodney King, Red Nick, Popo, I'ma kill me a cracker, if the crackers wanna trip, I'ma let my thing grip. If these crackers wanna trip, I'ma let my thing grip. If these crackers wanna trip, I'ma let my thing grip. I'ma let my thing grip. You can bet that just like G Graham, we gon' combat, yo. Black Jackson, you see that we back, gon' have that blood fast, gon' get that right, rub that, bust that, clap that, bean bags, bitch, no ass, girl, white trash, like old grass, like a car crash, like old cash, cracker, taking bullets in your ass, man. We scream die, cracker down with your imperialism, we scream die, cracker down with your colonialism, we scream die, cracker down with your capitalism, we scream die, cracker down, your political prisoners, die, cracker die, is our boy die, die, cracker die, is our boy die, die, cracker die, is our boy die. Die, cracker, die, and our boy die.
Peace and welcome to the Message to the Black Fam program. I am your host, Sister Lady Shabazz, and I thought we'd open it up today with a little mood music to get us ready for today's show. Now, today we have a great opportunity. I know that I've done a couple of programs about survival in the past, but I'm not an expert. It's just something, I dabble in from time to time. So today I really want you to take full advantage of this program. Call in with any questions that you have, and don't wait until the show's almost over with, because we got Mama Yaba Rudy that's going to be joining us on the Cypher program directly following this program. So get in early. But if you've had any questions on any aspects of survival, weapons, food storage, anything like that, definitely call in, because today I'm very excited to announce that my guest is the Asafo Gun Club. And I'm not sure, most of you are probably familiar with them. I know a lot of our War on the Horizon fans are also fans of Asafo. But I am Facebook friends with them, and the information that they post is just so wonderful. And I listen to sometimes the things that he says on air, and he cracks me up. I forget what the latest one was that he was going off on, but it is hilarious. But it's a lot of good information and, really relevant. And it makes you check your attitude about certain situations. It makes you get out of that fairy tale land that a lot of us are living in and come back down to earth, and realize, this is not the time to be ignorant. This is not the time to be soft. This is the time to keep it very, very real. So I know that this is going to be a very powerful program. As I said, I see the phone lines are already starting to light up. If you have any questions at all, or if you just want to tell the brother how much you appreciate the things that he does, definitely call in. A lot of times people do this work, and especially like places like Facebook, you might just go by and read it. You might not click like, you might not comment, but you still get something from it. And sometimes it seems like maybe nobody's listening, or you're not really appreciating you. So definitely call in and let the brother know how much we really appreciate the things that he's done. I know I learn something every day from the brother. So definitely happy to have him on the program. And brother, are you there with us today?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being a guest on the program. I definitely appreciate it. I guess we can start off with a brief introduction for people who may not be familiar with them. What is the Asafo Gun Club? What services do you provide, and what got you interested in survival?
We started the page a few years ago. I forgot exactly which year. Myself and some, my friends down here in Atlanta, I've been doing survival and firearms training with my company, Rugged Works, for I think about 5-6 years now. Kind of open with the public, and I went from doing that to we went down to Katrina after that event took place, and some of us were just sitting around talking, and we were like, let's start I'm gonna give credit to one of my friends, Carl. He said, let's start we start a Facebook page and see if we can link up with other people in different places of the same mindset. So we kind of just put the page together, and just open it up, start putting out stuff that we were doing, and seeing that we could like I said, meet other people doing the same thing, or people of the same mindset. And, it's kind of like just something we do in the pastime, or I do in the pastime, kind of like a hobby, in conjunction with, the work. I do work similar to the information, some of the information that I present to y'all. And, that was pretty much it. The Facebook page was just kind of just something we did, really for no reason, just kind of, seeing, what was out there, and, who we could make contact with, as far as people interested in guns and like current affairs and even signs. Because you go to the page, you see we put all kind of stuff on there. It's not purely just a gun club page. It's just a lot of stuff that's going on with with the team, some of the members of the team, and people put different ideas up there. I put a lot of stuff up there in my spare time. So that's how it came about, really.
Yes, sir, and we definitely appreciate it. I love how real you keep it. Some of the things you say, I'm like, wow, I think it, but I don't always say it in public. I love how real y'all keep it on that page.
I thought we don't care. We don't care. I mean, we're doing our thing, and it's. I've been down here in Atlanta. It's supposed to be a large conscious community down here, and it is what it is. I'm sure it's the same everywhere you go. I've traveled a lot, but it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge trying to deal with the people. And I've spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of money trying to. I did have a bookstore one time. We had a little science center we opened up, and we tried to do something with that, and that didn't work out. Just the people weren't interested in apparently reading, and the people weren't interested in science and that kind of stuff. And so I left that alone. But it's tasking, and I'm sure you know, and a lot of people, your organization know, when you're trying to deal with the people, it can be stressful. And I'm at the point really right now. I do what I do, and I really don't care if people want it or not. I'm not really trying to save people, but the people who are interested in the information, I put it out there, and that's why we kind of upfront with it, because we're not really trying to. There's nothing for us to gain, in the sense that we're not trying to be popular. We're not trying to, we're not really trying to do anything. We just share what we know, and that's pretty much it. So we don't have to, we don't have an agenda in that sense. And it's something we try to achieve with the people. We try to lead the people somewhere. We try to give them some type of philosophy or something like that. They do, people do what they want to do.
Yes, sir.
And that's a part of freedom. And so, we put out the information that along the lines of what we do and what we're interested in. So that's why we frank sometimes, most times.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate it, and I agree. I had to grow to that point to understand, because I used to always be running my mouth trying to force people to think the way I do, and I know that doesn't work. So at this point, if you can't see the need to start preparing your family for whatever, disaster, race issues, whatever, then I don't think you're ever going to, because it's very apparent. It's been apparent for a long time. So for those of us who want to start taking steps in that direction, maybe we've been procrastinating because we just don't know where to start or how to begin. What do you think would be a good start for people? Because it's so vast.
Okay. One of the things I want to say, I know you and I talked previously before, the show about, kind of some of the subject matter I was going to potentially discuss. And I am going to answer your question and address that issue in depth. But one of the things I want to say, just today has been it's been a real eye opener for me. Of course, I'm in the firearms business. I have an FFL, and I get to see things other people are not privy to, because I have a wholesale account and I have a federal firearms license. And I just, occasionally I drive around to the different stores, local stores, and see what, most of them don't know who I am. So I'll just go in and see what the prices are, see what what the mood is and what's available. And today, the reality really hit me that it's too late. And I hate to say that, but it's really too late for a lot of things, and especially when it comes to firearms. If you didn't get what you needed by this point, I have to say, it's too late. And that's something that I really want to talk about today, because I'm saying this, even in my business, most of my customers are white. As long as I've been doing this, white people kept me in business. My friends and people in my circle, and I meet black people here and there that, are interested in the subject. But to be honest, most of the people I do business with are white. And even like some of the guys who run these stores around, some of them know me, come in, they used to give me deals and we work things out. But I went in today and it was a real somber mood. It was, the shelves are pretty much empty. They're complaining about, they can't get anything. This is something I think most black people and a lot of people, even some of my buddies who are not close to me, didn't realize. I had to call them, tell them, we got this big event coming up in Florida this weekend, this training event. And I had to tell them, ask them, did they have the ammo supply levels, where we try to keep them. And some of them weren't even aware that, there was no more ammo, pretty much, except for whatever is in the store right now is all there is. And every time I go to my distributors and look, for the wholesale inventory, everything is zeroed out. I mean, everything. And that's impossible. And I remember when the first 1994 gun ban came in with Clinton, when they was getting set for that, it took almost a year and a half for that legislation to really, for the people to start feeling that. And even then, you could still buy an assault rifle. Of course, you had to have some certain little insignificant changes to it. Not an assault rifle, but a rifle. Civilians do not own assault rifles. There are some who do, who have to go through get special permits from the ATF, pay a special tax to get what is considered an assault rifle. But most people just own rifles, semi-automatic rifles, and semi-automatic shotguns and handguns. But you still could get things. You could get magazines, you can get ammo, bid. You paid a little bit more for it. But it caught me by surprise. Even me. Within 2 or 3 weeks of this thing happening, everything went to zero. And I find that impossible. If you consider it 50% of the country is supposedly against, guns or want more restrictive gun laws, then there's no way you can say that half of the country. Even when you look at half of the country, we're talking about even you have a good percentage of people who may have some type of feeling about an incident, but it doesn't really affect the industry because they're not buying guns anyway. But there's no way the percentage of people that actually do purchase firearms or the new people that went and bought firearms, there's no way that they bought that much ammunition, firearms, and accessories in 3 weeks. That's impossible. So I personally believe that the gun industry sold the people out. I believe it was some type of, not to be conspiratorial, but I believe there was some type of deal struck or something happened behind the scenes that's totally different from the gun ban in 1994 or the Clinton gun ban. And that's why I say the gravity of it, and I don't know if your listeners, though, if you can understand the gravity of it is tremendous. You had New York came out today, and they did a fly-by-night legislation where they banned all so-called assault rifles, and that's just a general term because, like I said, people don't own assault rifles. They limited the magazine capacity down to 7. They're allowing people who already purchased weapons to keep their weapons, but they have to register them. And that's been a big fight for the longest in the gun control industry, because what a lot of people don't realize, anytime you have to register your guns, registration leads to confiscation. Once they know what you have and they know where you have it at, then it makes it easy to identify, target, and take your stuff, or at least engage you. And there's no federal, there's never been a federal, a lot of black people don't know hardly anything about guns, and that's kind of distressing too. And especially when it comes to a lot of other rights, we just, for some reason, we don't assert ourselves, and we feel like utilizing our rights is somehow sinful or something. But you had those things take place. You had New York did. They also did a thing where you have to have a permit now to buy ammo, or you have to go through a background check to buy ammo. And then they mixing this up with mental health evaluations, and that's going to be the next big step, because what they're trying to do is eliminate, and they've been talking about this for years, do everything incrementally. They've been talking about, they were trying to get diagnose a lot of soldiers from the Gulf War and different wars, all the wars we've been having, with PTSD. And the reason they want to do that is to eliminate soldiers who have skills, who have been in combat, who have been trained to fight. That's been a big plan, too, to eliminate their ability to own firearms. That's the whole reason. And I'm against domestic violence. I'm against, anybody hurting anybody, whether it be a male attacking female or female attacking her husband or boyfriend or whatever. I'm against that. But at the same time, that was a part of why the domestic abuse legislation came in. They added that onto firearm to ban people from firearm ownership, because a lot of times you have some legitimate domestic abuse cases. I would say the majority of them probably are legitimate, where you have people you may have some male or some female who is emotionally out of control and pose a danger to their spouse or family. But a lot of cases you can have things from, I got one buddy here, and he's a good dude. Him and his child mother, they had an incident back in the days. I think he was 18, 19. They weren't even married, but I guess they were common law. And all he did was pull the phone line out of the wall, because she was at his apartment. They weren't staying together. She was at his, no, they weren't staying together. She was at his apartment, and she was calling the police from his phone because she wouldn't leave his house. He told her to leave. She didn't want to leave. And I forgot. I don't know why. She got on the phone to do that. But he pulled his phone out of the line. Never hit her. Never laid hands on her or hurt anybody. But he caught a domestic behind that. And he can't own a firearm. I've never known him to be abusive. His girl, they friends now. They okay now. But just because of a matter like that, you have this guy. He no longer can own a firearm for the rest of his life. There are some ways, if certain felons, you can go to the Department of Public Safety and request the reestablishment of your rights. In a lot of small towns, that's how you see a lot of others get their rights to own guns back, because they know the sheriff, they know the people in the small town, and and they give them a pass and they get reinstated. But that don't happen in major cities, especially when it's concerning us. But I say all that to say that you've had a huge swell in the number of people who bought firearms, and there has been a large number of just regular citizens who bought firearms, and now they cut off the supply. So for the people, and I want to be honest, a lot of us who never paying attention to things that are happening, we're never paying attention to the mood of things, and we always going along with what this so-called black leader or this so-called radio host says. And a lot of us are going to find ourselves in a situation where if things do go bad, I mean, you have to look at the examples that happened at Katrina. You had the people at Katrina who were subjected to a natural disaster, and they were treated like criminals. The media demonized them. Looking for food and looking for resources were considered a crime. You had there was the Metairie Bridge where they didn't even let the black people come over the bridge. The sheriff department lined up on the bridge with shotguns and fired shotguns in the air and basically said, "Niggas, stay on your outside. Stay in the disaster area. You can't come into our area." So, what do you think is going to happen if some other type of calamity, befalls this country and, is every man for itself, there's an economic collapse or whatever it might be? You're going to find the majority of us unarmed, unprepared, and it's going to be open season. The people, a lot of people have been preparing for it. When you hear that zombie talk, what do you think they're talking about? Zombies, when you imagine a zombie is somebody walking around helpless, hapless, mindless, looking for food, looking for something to eat. That's what a zombie is. A zombie has no purpose. He's just looking for resources, looking for something to eat, and looking for brains, I guess. But that's something that's very major that happened today, and people don't understand the significance of it. You got tomorrow, Obama is supposed to come out with his plan on gun control, and he's even threatening to come out, use 19 executive orders on gun control, and that potentially can start a civil war. And it would definitely lead to silver strike, because these people are not going to give up their guns. So you're going to have a line drawn in the sand. And when they see Obama, they see me, they see you, they see, you got a lot of black people who are part of militias and other stuff. I've been arguing with some of them. They think, well, I'm cool with this person, that person. Well, that may be the case, but these people, you have to always look at history for precedents, and whatever's happened before will happen again, or can happen again, and in all likelihood will happen again. So that's the reality of where we're at right now. We're in a very dangerous position, and it's really too late in a lot of instances. When you go into the gun stores, I know here in the South, and I don't know about up north, but in a lot of places you can't find. They remove 9mm ammunition, they remove 22 caliber ammunition, 308, 5.56, 223. You can't buy anywhere. I can't even get it from my distributor. So it's completely gone. No traces of it. And 9mm and 22 are always my recommendations to people because it's economical. You can buy it in mass. All of that is completely gone. And I can't even recommend people get 22 rifles anymore because you can't get the ammunition for it. I can't recommend people get 9mm anymore because you can't get the ammunition for it. I've actually, surprisingly, I've seen some 45 in every store I went to. I have been seeing 45 caliber, which is typically an American caliber, but I don't know, that's still available for the time being. I've been doing a lot of business selling magazines. I can sell them for high prices to the other team, and I do because they're so desperate for them, they're paying the money for it. But that's a real issue. I know that's a little bit off of the survival issue, but the firearms issue is major, and I really don't think that black people understand what has happened here on so-called Martin Luther King not so-called, but his birthday. It's just funny they chose to make that announcement today and to go along with the nonviolence the whole concept. Everything is and I think that's something that people need to really think about and be aware of.
Definitely. That's definitely,
but,
like you said,
I wanted to get that. I went off on a tangent on that, but I wanted to just stress that to the people before I went into answering questions and talking about survival kits and preparedness. Now, the only thing, anytime I tell you about something, I like to be solution oriented, I don't like to just talk about the problem, but I had to mention that because that's a real problem. One of the things, the solution to the only foreseeable solution, you can't get 22s. I went by 22s. If you can afford, if you have any money, you definitely need to get you something, because if you got something, if things go bad, you potentially can get something else. But if you have nothing, you have no means to defend yourself, then you're definitely in a bad way. And since you can't get 22s anymore, you can look at getting 17 HMR rifles which are just as effective, if not more effective. They still have 17 HMR ammo left, and that's all of this is going to start. You're going to see all that start depleting, especially after tomorrow, because tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is the big day where Obama make his announcement on what he's going to do. And everybody's afraid of executive orders, and I know the South and a lot of the other team is threatening civil war if he do. And I don't think I know they're not playing about it. They are not playing about it, and it may not happen tomorrow, that day, but you're going to see some serious problems arise from that. The only thing I can tell you, look, you need to get something, and I'm not saying to preparing for a race war or nothing like that, but it's just you need to have something to defend yourself in case things go bad, especially with things looking that way. Any kind of bolt action rifle, that's calibers you want to look at is 30-06, 7mm, 270, 243. Get you a good scope for it, and if you could at least get that, you should be halfway all right. And that with a little bit of skill should get you there. And a shotgun is okay. I don't stress shotguns too much, because to me shotguns are just high powered handguns. The range is limited. The shot spread. Past 50 yards, 75 yards, and at the maximum 100 yards, the round is pretty much falling to the ground. You don't really get that much punch from it. You don't get that much accuracy from it at range. So you definitely need some type of centerfire caliber that you can reach out and, hit targets with, whether it be hunting or defending yourself. If you can send a message at a distance farther than somebody can send one to you, then you're better off. So that's the solution to that problem, but I did want to stress that problem. The gun problem and the gun control issue, I had to talk about that because I don't think we're taking that serious enough. And I think we've kind of, a lot of us let that one get out of the bag, and we're in a bad way behind it.
I definitely agree. Like you said, that's very sombering, because I know a lot of us have not taken that seriously, and we don't realize that, white folks have been preparing for this for a very, very long time. A lot of them have more ammo and food and everything else that we could possibly imagine. And, we're sitting at home wasting our ammunition on New Year's Eve, firing rounds in the sky, things like that. It's very silly. And today we're going to talk very straight. We can say anything we want to. The only stipulation is that we can't use the N-word on the station. But other than that, we are going to go, as raw as we need to go, because we need to drive this point home. Like you said, it sounds like it's too late. If you want to go right after the program today and see if you can find anything, depending on where your time zone is, maybe you'll be able to do that. But don't wait, because it sounds like that it's already too late. So if you can scramble up something, then do that. So what are we left with now? I mean, is it basically just take some martial arts at this point, or what can we do as far as survival?
Well, it won't do you that much good.
Right.
To be honest with you, you're going hand in hand with people with long rifles. So I would like to have an enemy like that.
Right.
That I take everything you got, but not to say hand in hand isn't useful. It's very useful and it's very effective. I believe in it, but at the same time, we try to stick with realistic solutions. If you're going to meet a force, you generally want to meet a force with superior force. Never equal force. A lot of people, and that's funny when you talk about combat and fighting, a lot of people always envision meeting problems with the same amount of force. Now that's what you're supposed to do legally. If someone confronts you on the street, there are rules to the use of force, judicious use of force. But in combat situations, everything's about cheating. And what we, just to kind of talk about cheating, getting around. I don't advise anybody to disobey the law while the law is relative, because that's pointless. You put yourself in a bad situation for no reason, and you'll miss the fight, being incarcerated. But one is everything has to become a thinking game now. You got to really think. You got to really start preparing. And if you can't get the tools you need that you need to get, then you got to focus on what you can do, because some people just can't do it. Some people, the economy is bad. A lot of people just can't do it. A lot of those other people who bought large quantities of firearms and stuff like that, they put it on credit cards, and they had $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 they could, that they were willing to, spend on ammo and stuff like that and guns. But a lot of us can't do that, and that's another problem, because now that the guns, the dealers know, what's what, and they can't get any more. I saw guns today that were almost $200 overpriced. I know what the wholesale cost is, and I know what the markup is. I mean, they mark guns up to, in some cases, they double. I mean, the profit margin had to be like 300%. And most people who work 9 to 5, and a lot of medium to low income people can't afford it. So that's another catch. To go back to answer your first question, what can you do to prepare? You want to look at things, you look at your situation, you accept the reality of it, you do what you can, and then you look at, what can I do? As far as preparedness, some of the key things, you got to look at your environment, because it's going to be different for people depending on your location. There's no one. There are a general set of items that you can always buy, but you really have to look and assess your situation. Do I live in a city? Do I live in a brownstone? Do I live in some type of apartment, high rise? What type of people do I live around? What are the likely, what are the realistic likely problems that I may face? What problems have people in this area faced before? That's always a good start. If you're in the New York area, places like that, y'all had rolling blackouts and stuff like that. So what I do if the power's out, not just for a week or 2 weeks, but what if it's out for good? How long will it be before Mike and them down the street start cutting the food? What can I do to get out of this area? God forbid you have to stay in the area with people who are, out of pocket for an extended period of time, because it's going to be ugly. You start looking at the basic things you need to live, and I think you heard me say this before: water, mobility. And mobility is one of the key things in modern times, just like in modern warfare. You don't see people building forts anymore. You don't really see. You even see the U.S. talking about getting rid of tanks, and they had discussion about that. They had discussions about getting rid of battleships, because a lot of those antique systems, those large emplacements and stuff like that. That doesn't work in an era where you have planes and missiles that can, be guided in by lasers or infrared. You can't hold a position. There's no such thing as holding a position anymore. You can't build a fort. You can't secure yourself in any spot. Even if it's a non-military attack, you can't. Eventually, people on the street will figure out, if you were held up in your house, if you boarded up your windows and stuff like that, they'll figure out, eventually they'll beat on it till they get it open. You never want to trap yourself. That's something we teach in survival training. Never put your back against the wall, or if you're in the outdoors, you never want to put your back against a river or a creek or a cliff, because you always want to be able to make moves. And mobility is the key thing. That's the first thing I would be thinking about. Evacuating areas that I know. If I'm in a problem area, how can I get out of it? So establishing an escape route from your area, even from your apartment, all of those things should be, that's your first thing, planning. Sitting down planning, looking at your resources, looking at who you have to plan for. If you got children, what can I do? Do we have? And I'm going to be honest, when it comes to women, every woman is going to need some man to help her. And that doesn't mean women are not strong and all that kind of stuff. But if you got an uncle, dad, a brother, somebody, this is a good time to start building, relationships of trust, and trying to find out who can you trust, and and start talking to those people, not being extreme with them, not putting too much on them at one time. But if you know a guy 2 doors down, and you're a single woman, and he's just a pretty good guy, he minds his business and does this and that, and he just seems like he's on the up and up. You might want to start talking with him lightly about, what would you do if something happened? But, just kind of working that conversation, because you're going to have to build some type of ally system. You're going to have to, bond with people. Nobody, I believe I can roll with the best of them. I can survive. I don't care, come what may, but still I got a family, and having people to help me and having my team is a lot better because it takes a lot of the stress off of me. It gives me an opportunity to rest, and when I'm resting, they can be watching. When they watching, I'm resting. We need each other. We need teamwork. We need to form bonds. So that's an important part of planning too. You got to sit down and make a plan. If this happens, if that happens, what do I need to do? And then you need to look at gear. A lot of people, I sell gear, but people like there, you don't push the store that much. I really, like I said, I look at everything the same way. I understand where we at now, so I'm not so worried about whether people buy stuff or not. And I try to be honest though and tell people don't become gear junkies. A lot of people just want to buy a lot of stuff, and that's what a lot of the people on the other side have done. They just bought all this stuff, and they can't even carry the stuff, and they assuming they've actually immobilized themselves mentally because they got all this stored in this one place or maybe even two places, and they'll feel like if something happens, they'll feel like they have to stay there and hold that spot. They have to keep these resources that they've accumulated, and that may be their undoing. You want to stay mobile. You want to have knowledge. Knowledge is going to be key, knowing where to find food in the wild, knowing what you can eat, knowing, how to prepare stuff. Right now, I always advise people to, get you a couple of, thumb drives from Best Buys or whatever stores you have in your area that sell electronics. Download as much information as you can about survival. Print that stuff out. A lot of information is free. You need to get information about edible plants. You need to get information about medicinal plants. You need to get your planning together. You need to find out where your water resources are near you, near where you be every day. If you're at work every day, you need to find out where the water is near there. You need to come up with plans on what will I do if I had to leave my job and go try to pick up my kids from school, and what if the school is in lockdown. It can be stressful and it can be overwhelming. That's why it's good to have people on your team where even if you got a close girlfriend or neighbor, put her name on the list at school where she might can go pick up the kids if you can't get there in time. You got to start looking at emergency planning, period. That's the first step. Start looking at, establishing emergency planning. Now, that's something I can't do for people because everybody's situation is unique. And that's something that only you can do for yourself because you know what it is you need to do and you know what problems you may face. Now, when it comes to gear, there's certain things I can tell you need to have. One of the things that's very important is having, a good pair of boots, especially if you live in the South. If you got a lot of wilderness, I know up north, so-called concrete jungle, and I know a lot of people probably don't have that much, wilderness or whatever, but you never know when you may find yourself in environments that are, that are stressful. You never know when you may find yourself in the woods. You want to have a good pair of shoes, a good pair of boots, period. If you can't afford anything else but some hiking boots, get some hiking boots. And not Timberlands and all those kind of heavy boots that look good and seem cool and, people walk around with the shoes untied. You need a good pair of boots where you can move and protect your feet, especially if you have to, tread through water, you have to go up and down hills. Tennis shoes and stuff like that won't do it. And cool Timberlands and all that kind of stuff won't do it. There are certain Timberlands that are made for the outdoors that are excellent shoes, but a lot of those, construction type shoes, they won't work. You need to get you some, your clothing is important. It's wintertime. Everybody needs to make sure they have some type of, skull cap, women too, balaclava, something like that to keep your head warm, to keep your ears covered. You need to, have layers, have an extra pair of clothes to put in your kit. You need a bag, period. You need some type of at least 1,000D, 500D, or 5,000D nylon fedora bag because those will hold up. You buy cheap bags. A lot of times down here, I know people stress for money, but I tell people there's certain things you're going to pay the money for if you want it to last, so you're wasting your time. You buy right, you buy once. You buy wrong, you buy twice, 3 times, 4 times, however long it takes you to realize that you should have bought the right one in the first place. Certain things you can skimp on, but there are a lot of things that you can't. Bag, a good pair of shoes, boots, you can't skimp on that. You got to pay the money for it. It's going to cost you over $100. A good bag is going to cost you over $100. You need to pay the money for it. Or you're going to have a bag that's going to fall apart on you in a week's time, or threads start coming loose and different things like that. You need to have some type of water filtering system, water straw, like the ones we carry, or one you buy locally. You need to have something to filter water. You need to have something to put your goods and supplies in. You need to have your good pair of lightweight, strong boots to move around in. You need to have clothes that are lightweight, generally some type of BDUs. And what I mean by that, some type of non-cotton cargo pants. A lot of people, it's amazing, we go hiking sometimes, people will try to wear jeans out into the woods and they'll end up, chafed. Jeans are the worst thing in the world to have on in a survival situation. They look cool, they're comfortable when you're just getting in and out the car, walking at the mall or going shopping. But if you have to actually, run for your life or do anything, long term in a pair of jeans, you'll regret it. So you need a good pair of khakis, like some type of cargo pants, and preferably non-cotton pants, because cotton, you never wear cotton into the wild, because when cotton gets wet or cold, it stays that way. And they got a lot of materials now, a lot of, like the military grade khakis and stuff like that. They have rip stop where they get torn. They won't, the tear won't, it'll stop, just like the name says, rip stop. It won't hold water. If it gets wet, it'll dry out in a period of time. So those are, your outfit, your clothing, your boots, your bag. Those things are very important, and water purification is very important. Having toiletries in your bag and stacking toilet paper, stacking things that you can barter and trade, cigarettes, alcohol, honey, sugar, salt, or you'll be surprised, because, you'll get more with that than stacking gold and silver notes that say you own gold and silver. You need to actually have something you can trade with people. Cigarettes are lightweight, and people always want that when they're under stress. So cigarettes will be a big seller. Whether you believe in cigarettes or not, you're trying to survive, so you need something to barter with. Those are just some of the things. I can go into a whole lot, but I know I've been just talking, so I'm going to start right there and just answer questions. Unless, people don't have one, then I carry on from that.
Okay, I said thank you. That was actually opened my eyes to a lot of things. I never thought about that, because I am one of those people that will go hiking in the woods in jeans, and never thought about that. So thank you, because I'll definitely look into doing something else. We're going to go on and go to the phone lines. They are lit up. As I said, this is a night that you want to call in early, because Brother DJ's coming on right behind us, so we're really not going to go over. So if you have questions, get them in. The number is 760-569-7676. The participation code is 948656#. That's 948656#. All right. And if you're just listening, just let me know you're just listening. 2870, you're live. Two 2870. All right, I'm going to assume you're just listening. I'm not going to be able to hang around too long today. 3035, you're live.
Hi, I'm just listening.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Yeah, you only get 2 times for me to ask you if you're listening tonight. If you're just listening, I'm going to go on, because the brother just has too much information for us to be dilly-dallying tonight. 0834, you're live on War on the Horizon.
Greetings, Hotel.
Hotel.
Dear Sister Shabazz and Brother Montu, I'd like to say it was very enlightening, everything that you just said, and I really do appreciate it, what you and your family are doing. I really do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I cut you off. Please continue.
No, I was just saying thank you. We do appreciate when, we appreciate when people, appreciate us, basically, simply put. And I want to say thank you.
Oh, yeah. And I would like to also ask you a question. How, throughout your years, of accumulating your knowledge, because it sounds like you're very realistic and practical, how delusional do you believe that black people have become as you said, that it's too late for a lot of these things. I mean, let's be realistic about it. How delusional have people become when it comes to not understanding what preparation, contingency planning, and everything is for their home life, their family, their schools, and their businesses. And how do you feel that has truly done a disservice to the leadership of the young adults and younger children?
I'm going to answer that question with something that happened last night. I was communicating with one of my friends on Facebook, and he put a post up of it was a picture of somebody shooting down a drone, and it was just a question. And for some reason, I looked at it, and for some reason I clicked on it. Normally, I look at pictures and kind of move past them, but I clicked on it, and when I clicked on it, it took me to a little chat, like where people were commenting on the picture, and it was. I'm gonna tell you, this is a statement that somebody put on there, and the guy, I can't remember his name, well, I'm gonna say it anyway, but he put on as a comment, somebody put on there, they was talking about how to deal with drones and stuff like that, which none of the answers were made any sense, and they told me they hadn't even researched what they were doing. But I didn't make a comment, I just read through it, and they were just kind of going through trying to figure out how to deal with it. And this guy, one of these guys came on there and said, these were his, and I can't quote exactly what he said, but this is the gist of what he said. He said, I think we should focus, we can't really, there's only so much we can do in relation to dealing with, of course, the white man's power structure and his weapons. He said we need to focus on more realistic approaches, such as figuring out a way to communicate with the extraterrestrials from somewhere who might be able to help us with their technology, defeat the white man's technology. That he felt that, he said that was a more logical and reasonable approach to try to figure out a way to communicate with aliens to help us defeat the white man. And to me, that's extremely delusional. And he didn't say it as a joke. He stood by his point, and read a couple other lines, and people responded. People accepted his response, though I was amazed, and nobody really addressed it. I didn't address it. I just went on about my business and I left the page. But this was the conversation that they had, and I told my brother, the conversation is ridiculous. And what the problem is, and I'm gonna say it, black people are cowards. As a lot of us, a lot of black people are just cowards. And I'm not saying that even in the sense of as putting them down, but it's the truth. A lot of black men are extremely afraid, and I guess our mothers taught us that you can go through whatever psychological reasoning, and a lot of it is legitimate as to why it is. And it really, my man Randy always says, it doesn't matter why, what is the only thing that's important. And when we talk about what we're talking about, what are the results? We can blame people all day. We can come up with the reason why things went bad, but we need to, most people fear addressing the results, and they fear changing the results, and they fear having to be responsible for the results. So it's easier to just sit around and discuss what went wrong and why it's wrong. But all of that is fear-based, and that's what I see with black people. Black people are extremely afraid, and not just when it comes to gun, but just every aspect of their life is circles around fear. It's just fear. Everything is fear-based. Even a lot of the adherence to servitude of religion is based on fear. It's not based on power like the Europeans. They use fear. They use Jesus and everything else to their strength. It works for them because they believe Jesus and God. Everything they do, God wills it, and that's empowering. I understand the power of religion. I'm not religious. I don't follow that, but I understand it, and we use it on the other hand to help us hide away and to cop out of doing things. And it's so much fear in the black community. We fear God, we fear man, we fear our wives, we fear our husband, we fear our children, we fear ourselves, we fear success more than anything, and we fear responsibility. And that's the reason we don't act, because we're just afraid. We're afraid to win. You ever seen a situation where you have people I've seen this happen, growing up where I grew up, and I've seen people fight bullies, and they are actually start off, they'll do something, you know, you're like, oh man, this, you know, you feel for him, you're like, man, dude's gonna stomp him, he's gonna crush you. Then the guy he'll start out winning. He'll do some move unexpected and have the bully on the rope for a minute. I'm just gonna say bully. He'll have him, you know, he'll be getting the advantage of him. Then it's like somewhere in the middle of him winning, he'll realize who he's fighting. And then he'll pull back because even though he's winning, he'll feel like, oh man, I don't want to hit this guy too hard because he might start coming back and really beat me down. Then he'll surrender in the middle of the fight. And then the guy come back, and I've seen that happen a couple of times. You know, just in my analysis of what happened, you see somebody start out winning, then for some reason they just start, you know, they relent. They pull back, you know, and then, of course, the other person, you know, embarrass them. Of course, they're going to beat you worse now. So that's the kind of thing that black people fear. Black people have that fear of, I don't even want to start winning or start the ball rolling because I might lose heart in the middle of the fight. And if you do lose heart in the middle of the fight, you will lose, you know. So it's that fear thing. Delusions come from fear. Everything comes from fear. And, you know, I always tell people, I never lie to people because I'm not afraid of people. You lie to things you're afraid of. You lie to your boss when you tell him you were sick. That's why you didn't come to work, because you're afraid he's going to fire you. You know, we tell lies. Everything wrong. All errors are based on fear. You know, so that's kind of why we are. And I'm not blaming, but I understand we're scared. I understand we're afraid. But at some point, you know, you have to kind of just address it and go all in. Even when it comes to talking about white people, you rarely hear me. I say stuff about them sometimes, but I understand white people. I do business with them. And nobody can get mad at people who look out for themselves. Nobody can get mad at people who, you really can't, because it's your job, it's our job to look out for ourselves. It's our job to win for us, not their job to help make the playing field fair so we can have a fair shot at winning. That'd be stupid. Now we'll do that if if black people got in the power tomorrow. We'll start we'll make a fair game for everybody else, and then eventually we'll lose power again. That's how power is established. You can't have power without some bit of cheating and some bit of, you know what I mean, you know, that's the game. That's the way the world is set up. You look in the natural environment, whatever created us, everything in nature has to kill something else to maintain life. That's the game. That's the rule. You know, so I don't know. We got to go. That's the fear.
Apostle, excuse me. When it comes to contingency planning, as you have within the inner cities, within these cities that a lot of black people have moved into, have migrated to throughout the various decades. The martial laws, you mentioned Katrina, because I would think that rurally being out on open land, even though that there's a premise, but being in the concrete jungles, being in the cities, that's a different type of survival. And my question is what do you see the people not doing who may have fell for the fashion, the trends, the this and the that, and who may be programmed by that, as opposed to being practical and realistic on everyday living and in a delusional sense, have been living in a certain type of danger, hardcore, even amongst themselves. So what do you feel delusionally they're not doing to prepare for where they're at within the inner cities, including their schools, their churches, their programs, or wherever they gather? And do you feel that they are pretty much setting themselves just to be nothing but made a statement by some sort of killing machine?
Well, to be honest, here's the thing. I think, and and to answer your question, I really don't feel anything. I see, but I understand what you're asking. I see what you see. I see the inactivity, and to be honest, I try not to even look at them. I really don't. I don't care because I can't. I had to get to a point where I used to, put myself out there. I'm trying to fix everything, come up with a solution for this, solution for that, and that's a form of control. And then I realized some people, and just like nature, you have to look back at nature. Certain things are supposed to happen. Certain people, certain animals are prey animals. They're going to be consumed. They're going to be destroyed. And really, people like yourself and people like, I guess the people on, who on this show, listen to this show and are part of it, we have to focus on the living, and I'm not a Christian, but I like a lot of the things the Bible says as far as, there's some good quotes in there. And one of the quotes in there, I remember something that was credited for Jesus, that they say Jesus said was, he said, let the dead bury the dead. Somebody, he was supposed to be going somewhere. He was on a mission to go somewhere, and one of the, I guess, the prophets or the people with him said, well, I need to go bury my father. I can't go with you right now. And Jesus told him, he said, let the dead bury the dead. And I remember when I read that, I was a Christian. That was back when I was a Christian. I thought, wow, that was a hard statement. But I understand it now. The things, dead matters take care of themselves. The living have to focus on the living. We have to focus on doing what we know is effective. We can't look back. It don't matter what they're doing, to be honest. And I don't even concern myself with it anymore. I got to look at who's doing what I'm doing, who's doing what it takes to win. And that's what we got to focus on. I mean, just me personally, I can't tell, I'm not trying to tell you what to focus on and you what to think, and I'm not trying to avoid your question, but that's what I'm focused on, how to win and how to survive. Whatever they're doing in the inner city, if they're not doing, it's obvious. What you see is the same thing I see. It don't matter where you at and where, it's always the same thing. I mean, that's why we have these shows. If it was something different, then this show probably wouldn't even exist. If the situation was different in the area where you guys are, this show wouldn't be here if everything was straight. We talking about it because the situation is, it seems to be the side. I got friends on the West Coast. I talked to the situation the same out there. Friends in Texas, friends, a few friends up north. It's the same thing all over the country. As far as rural areas, you mentioned that earlier. The concrete jungle will be a challenge. It's going to be a major challenge. The thing about it, I could come up with a solution for what we could do. My thing, it would be important for whether people, I don't judge people on that. I think that's one thing that's important. Even the people who haven't prepared, even the people who are not ready, even though like sometimes I get in the mood, I'm like, screw them. You know what I mean? And we as black people, our nature is what it is. Sometimes we kind of wishy-washy about that. If I was to, leave out my house and I'm straight and something happened, I see a little kid out there, sitting in the street crying and the mama dead, I'm not going to leave him there. You know what I mean? I'll take the child. Now, will I have the same concern for a bunch of dudes who just sitting around clowning and playing, doing exactly? No, they on their own. That's on them. So unless they show me something, I'm hoping that, when that day comes or when that adversity comes, I'm hoping we show something different. I'm hoping, I used to say this thing, and it used to make a lot of people mad, especially country people. I said, the same people who ruined us are going to help us. And what I mean by that, the people who put this mind spin on us, they furthered the mind spin by making us think that things are different and things are not as they are. But one of these days, they going to stop playing. And when they start playing with us, when they start pretending they're not racist, and when we start pretending not to believe them, then things will change. And that's where we're coming to right now. These people, the people who are running this country, they're concerned about their power status. They're concerned about losing their influence. And one thing about them is, my man Randy always say, they are very proactive in their self-defense, and they are very proactive in terms of keeping their power. They are not about to let things slip, and they are not about to give up their guns. So they're going to start putting the hurting on the situation, and that will force a lot of people who thought things were different, who thought they could, slide in here and slide in there, and a lot of people who had all these delusions that you mentioned, they're going to come out of it. But you and I can't bring them out of it. The people who put them in it are going to bring them out of it, not because they want to, but just that's the way life is. It's funny like that sometimes. The people who hurt you sometimes are the only ones that can wake you up. And that's when they're going to wake up. When they start killing them mass scale, or they start doing something real bizarre to them on a large level, then you'll see the people, I hope you'll see the people start trying to do something. It will be too late in a lot of cases, but, there's going to be some leavening. There's going to be a lot of people going to have to go. That's just the way it is. A lot of mentalities can't be allowed to carry on anyway. So those people are going to be consumed by the people who made them, and then the few of us who do survive and who do manage to pull something out, a rabbit out of the hat, we're going to be all right. They can't destroy us because they didn't start us, but they will definitely reduce our numbers because they had the capacity to do it.
Well, thank you so much for your question and calling in. We definitely appreciate that, brother.
Asante Son, and give thanks to Warn the Horizon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Ooh, that's powerful. Definitely powerful, but Something I agree with completely. 1414, you're live on War on the Horizon. One four one four.
We're just listening. Excellent advice. Thank you so much for all the knowledge you share, brother. We really appreciate the practical advice.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for calling in. Make sure you call back. All right. 5469, you're live. 5469. All right. 9653, you're live.
Just listening, sister.
Just listening. All right. Well, thank you for listening in. And we appreciate everybody that's listening in, getting this good information. I know there's lots of it coming your way, but like I said, this is your chance. If you have any questions, ask now, because this brother knows what he's talking about much more than I do. So my survival shows are not going to even hold a candle to what you're going to get tonight. So make sure you have your questions ready. 4129, you're live.
Just listening, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, my brother, you're live on War on the Horizon.
Hotep says, how you doing?
Hotep, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you for having a program. I don't have any questions. I'm just listening, soaking it in from my brother. Just wanted to call in and let him know I'm listening and supporting.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
All right. 1566, you're live.
Peace and blessings, Queen. Just listening.
All right, brother. Thank you for listening in. All right. And again, today's topic is survival, basically an open lines program. So any questions that you have, any comments that you have, feel free to call in. We have the Asafo Gun Club here representing. Again, the number is 760-569-7676 and participation code 948656#. That's 948656#. I know that we have a lot of new listeners, so I do appreciate those of you who are just listening in. Let me know that that's what's going on, because sometimes if you don't tell me, I think that there's a technical issue. So I do appreciate that, and thanks everybody that's listening in and calling in with questions. 3271, you're live.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very good, very good. I'm very glad to tune into this program tonight. I heard the program, I would say, about a week ago. My name is Brother Batat, Path 1. And I'm just calling in. I'm pretty much known on Blog Talk Radio, based out of my radio program, Revolutionary Radio, out of Philadelphia. And I was given this telephone number of the Black Panther Party. Talked to Brother Heru Kahudi, and a very powerful brother. And he gave me this conference number, and like I'm very, very impressed, very inspired. And this sounds like the topic we need right on time, and I appreciate what I'm hearing tonight. So I thank you for allowing me to be present, and Brother Heru Kahudi and the rest of the family tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. 0518, you're live. 0518.
Peace and love. This is Shanita out of South Carolina. How y'all doing?
Peace. How are you?
Hey.
Hey, I'm just listening in.
Right. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 9507, you're live.
What's going on, family? This is Reborn African calling from Montgomery, Alabama.
Peace, brother. How you doing?
Everything good. Okay, I want to ask two little questions right quick. Brother, what's your thoughts on AK-47s?
AK-47s are good guns, man. If I had to, we were actually having that discussion the other day. I've had several of them. Kind of regret. I actually sold the ones I had. I got 2 ARs now, 308 and one in 5.56. But the AK-47, if I had to, if the world was ending today, and I didn't have any, if I had to choose between the AR-15 and the AK-47, I knew I wasn't gonna have any, cleaning solutions, or I just need something for every environment. I think the AK is a more durable weapon, and because of its looser tolerances, you can feed AK-47 just about anything, in its caliber, and it'll run it. You don't need, like AR-15. The AR-15 is an awesome system too. It has, as far as your ability, you can change the AR-15. The AR-15 system is modular, and you can do a lot more as far as, changing the system and adding things to the system to improve its performance, whether it be rails, adding lasers and different things, and it's a huge aftermarket for it. But the AK-47 is a simple, rugged, reliable fighting weapon. If you just really got to fight and you don't have any, anything to really, keep cleaning supplies and stuff like that, if you got junk ammo, but, it's the same caliber, the AK-47 are running. And that's one of the attributes of it. That's why, it served the Soviet Union somewhere. You got to think about their environment, the extreme cold weather, it'll function. It's not a sensitive gun. It's not as accurate as the AR-15 by any means. The AR-15, now to be honest, I do. One of the things that I favor the AR-15 over the AK-47 for is accuracy. I like to be able to hit what I'm aiming at, and and put it down. And the AK-47, that's where it kind of, that's an accurate gun. I'm not gonna say that because you can shoot. We've shot. I'm pretty good with the AK-47, and most of our team are. Out to 300 yards, we can get you. Probably beyond that, I've never shot anything farther than that distance. But most combat and most fighting actually takes place within 125 yards to 300 yards. And that's well within the fighting range of the AK-47. The only thing about the AK-47, I consider it kind of a fair weapon system. And what I mean by that, if you're fighting somebody, if you're employing that weapon system, you're generally going to be kind of fighting people within range that they can see you, you can see them. And it's like a boxing weapon where the AR-15 just kind of gives you ability to cheat in the sense of being able to put a good scope on it and being accurate where you can hit people farther than they can hit you in a lot of cases. But I used to have a Yugo AK-47, and it was so accurate. We used to go to the police range, and they used to in DeKalb County they would have sometimes they'll be shooting unusual targets out there. They have steel plate, they have golf balls. They'll throw golf balls out there, and my wife and I, we were shooting golf balls with the AK-47, and we were hitting them, so it's accurate. But, that just, it has its limitations, and like every weapon system, I can't, every weapon, some where one, it has an advantage, another one loses, and that's the only thing about the AK-47, it kind of, in my opinion, it forces you to kind of fight in a fair way, which a lot of people may disagree with that because they can't understand the concept of what I'm saying. But because you don't have that range and that accuracy, generally if somebody can see you and you can see them, it's a good weapon system. The caliber, the bullet is deep penetrator is good because it, one of the advantages it has over the AR-15 is that it can shoot through things better. People hide behind, medium-sized, small to medium-sized trees, no more than, maybe a foot in diameter. That bullet will pass through there and still potentially hit them. If they hide behind, there's nothing in your house that can pretty much stop the round. If you fight inside a closed structure, that bullet is going to pass through doors, through, we shot them through cinder blocks and everything else. It just the caliber is a strong caliber, so it's a good penetrating round. So that's one of the advantages it has over the AR-15. But I think it's a good gun. If you got one, you got a good weapon system. Just make sure you have magazine and ammunition for it. And you can put scopes on them. My man Randy got a scope on his, and my man Ty, he don't have a scope for his, but he's going to put one on there. But the system is not well designed or well set up for scopes, if you ask me, because you have to put the there are some rail systems where you can put a scope directly on the dust cover, but those are kind of flaky in a lot of cases. But most times you'll see them, they got like a little side rail mount that you can attach your scope to, but it's going to kind of put your scope off to the left, and you have to compensate for that. So To answer your question, it's a good weapon system. If I had one, any gun you got is a good gun. You just have to, master your system. I don't care what you got. If you got a little 38, then you need to put a lot of time in with the 38. You need to develop strategies on using that 38. So whatever system you got is a good system if you put the time in with it.
Okay. That actually leads me to my next question. I went to the gun show and I saw these big white people. They were grabbing up all these bullets. They're fairly high. I don't know what was different about them, but I know I grabbed me a few of them. They go to the AK-47 and they look like the color of a penny. And they say that they're supposed to penetrate through like bulletproof. They can go through bulletproof glass.
Bulletproof glass is a whole different subject. Most bullets, our rifle bullets will go through a bulletproof vest. Most rifle bullets, there may be a few that I can't think of one that won't go through a bulletproof vest. There are some vests out there that will stop most rounds, like dragon skin. It'll stop most of the rounds. Bulletproof glass is a whole different subject. Most bullets won't go through bulletproof glass because glass is silicate based, which is sand based, and sand is one of the best mediums in the world for stopping bullets. That's why you see in the military when they build bunkers, they use sandbags. They'll put dirt in them if they're in an area that just got dirt, but sand is very good at stopping bullets. And the same thing with if you go online, you go on YouTube and go in there and watch people trying to shoot through bulletproof glass, you'll see all kind of powerful rounds people use against bulletproof glass, and there's only a few rounds that will go through there. 12 gauge slugs are good at stopping, at penetrating some of them. Some 12 gauge slugs will actually penetrate bulletproof glass better than rifles that are more powerful than them. Calibers like 7.62, 54. You can use a couple of those and they'll eventually get through bulletproof glass. But as far as bulletproof glass, that's not a reality. Most of the rounds you buy in the store are tame anyway. Even 9mm, all that ammunition is tame. A lot of U.S. manufacturing companies, if you buy ammo from overseas, it's generally what they consider hotter than ammo made in the United States, because U.S. companies voluntarily they kind of load their ammunition. They claim they do it for insurance reasons. They don't want high power, high charged ammunition. Liability, but most of the ammo you get, if it's made by an American company, it's weak anyway. If it's military surplus, it's generally going to be hotter. If it comes from another country, it's going to be hotter, and when I mean that, it's going to be faster and more potent than U.S. ammunition. A lot of people don't know that, but that's what it is.
Okay, and one other question. You was talking about 12 gauge slugs and everything. Buckshots, that's not too good, are they?
Buckshots are good. Buckshots are definitely good. If I had to, I don't own too many slugs. I have some, but me personally, that's just a personal thing. I don't like 12 gauge slugs because they recoil a lot. The barrel is not rifled unless you buy a shotgun that has a rifle barrel. You can buy those, or people use that for hunting. Now, if you got a shotgun with a rifle barrel, that bullet will fly longer because it'll give it a spin like a football. If you want a bullet to fly distance, it got to spin. But when you look inside your shotgun barrel, it's just smooth. There are no grooves in there, so it just basically just slinging the thing out there. It's not aerodynamic. So, a slug has its uses, I guess. For people who want to use them, I wouldn't use one for home defense because you'll shoot through, you'll hit a person. And it'll, if somebody breaking your house or something, you'll hit them, and then it'll go through them and go into another room. And if you live in an apartment, it'll go through that apartment. Most people think for some reason that when you shoot people, the bullet stopping the person you shot, and that's not the case. Most bullets, even handgun bullets, even a lot of these weak American bullets, will shoot right through a person and have enough force to kill somebody behind them. So buckshots are good. If you're using a gun for home defense, you can get birdshot. A lot of people laugh at birdshot, but birdshot is some of the best stuff you can have for home defense, because the reality, when somebody breaking your house, in most cases, most people don't have most people don't want to kill other people. Most human beings don't want to kill nobody. Even if you want to stop people from being able to hurt you and hurt your family, but most people don't want to kill other people. if somebody breaking your house, most time, if you just have some means, if you can display some sort of power where you have the means to basically defend yourself, you can. I would advise doing it. Some people just shoot up in the ceiling and stuff like that. That's stupid. If you're gonna pull the trigger, you pull the trigger at a target. But when you shoot a person, they don't know what you shot them with. The average person, even if they saw the gun, they don't know. I mean, they can't tell a 22 shot from a 12 gauge. They really can't. Not when you get hit. Not when the bullet's coming towards you. They all sound the same. They all look the same. So, your key thing in home defense is just running people off. More than anything. That's most people. Most people talk tough and they say they want to do more than that. But I always tell people, when you kill somebody, you got to carry their weight. So you want to try to avoid that in all cases. A bird shot is good because it'll definitely do a person some serious damage, potentially kill them at the ranges that you shoot them at, within 5 to 15 feet inside your house for home defense. But, other than that, they may survive, they may not, who knows. But it's cheaper. You can get a box of 25 rounds generally for sometimes anywhere between $5 to $10. Buckshot is gonna cost you a little bit more, probably almost $1 a round. Slugs will cost you about $1 a round. You probably get a 5-round box for like $5.86. I don't know, depending on your location, the price is different. But birdshot will do you fine. Birdshot will do you fine. To be honest, even in a riot situation, because if there are a whole bunch of people, if you go out the house and the system is collapsed and people outside rioting, I want to be able to hit as many people as I can with one shot if they're attacking me. If it's a large group of people attacking me, I don't care if you kill them or not. I just want to be able to hit them, because most people are going to overreact anyway when they see the flash, hear the boom, and feel some type of stinging pain. A lot of people overreact. Some people even die from shock and the wound wasn't lethal. It'd be funny. You have to see people, not that you want to see that, but when you see people get shot, people act strangely. And so that's, any ammunition is better than no ammunition. For home defense, I say use birdshot. You don't need 12-gauge slugs for anything, really, for the defensive purpose, if you ask me. A lot of guys do it out of ego. They want something big. They want to be able to say, I hit you with a 1-ounce slug and this and that, but that's, they don't really think the whole situation through. If you live in an apartment, you got kids in the house and all that kind of stuff. You want to minimize the damage you do, but you want to be able to apply force to the situation and stop it. That's when you're just talking about home defense. You just want to be able to have the ability to apply force. You don't need a whole bunch of force. Your job is not to kill people because they broke into your house. Your job is to stop them and to make them leave, if they can leave. So, birdshot to do. A lot of people get into calibers and all that kind of stuff. Bullets make holes in people, and that changes people's day. So that's the only thing that's important. You want to be able to apply force when your life is in danger. And wherever you leave that person is just where you leave them.
Okay. Lady Strange, can I ask maybe 2 more questions and I'm going to get off?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Back to the AK-47. I've heard a whole lot of talk about drums. Is drum bad? Like if you have a 75-round drum, is that good or bad? I know it do add a whole lot of weight to the gun, and it do make a lot of noise. But as you can hear the bullets moving around in the drum a little bit. But I heard people say that it'll jam up at times or whatever. I never had that problem, but a lot of people say it's not good, and it's better to just keep the 2 30-round magazines and tape them together, upside down, away from each other. So once you hit the 1 30-round out, you can just flip it around and do another 30 or a 75-round drum. Okay.
They call that jungle clipping. Yeah. If I had to choose, it really, to be honest, when it comes down to it, training really makes the difference. It really don't matter what you have. You stated some good points about, you kind of already stated what the deal was with it. The 75-round drum, it rattles. You know what I mean? You hold in more bullets, but it rattles. It can be useful in situations where, like I say, if it's a large mass group of people attacking you and they see you, you see them, it really don't matter if you're making noise. And it really don't matter about the weight at that point. But if you're going somewhere and you're trying to be quiet and you're trying to move without making noise, and that's very important. You might just be trying to sneak past the crowd and hopefully they don't see you, you don't see them, and you're just trying to get on about your business. Then you definitely don't want, any noise might draw attention. So, everything has its place. The 75 round drum has its place. It can jam. Everything can jam. A 30 round mag can jam. A 5 round mag can jam. Having one bullet in the gun can jam. Every single gun that's made can jam because it's a mechanical device. And most jams actually come from people not holding the gun tight. Most of your jams, especially with handguns, come from people having an improper grip on the gun and not providing that counterforce when the gun recoils. But everything you said was actually accurate on the 75. It's pluses and minuses. If you got a 75 round drum, that's the thing about your weapon system. You got to understand what it can do, what are its pluses, what is the minuses, and when you should use it and when not. As far as the magazines, you don't really have to jungle clip them. I don't believe in doing that anymore because it's just, if you train, if you practice, even if you're at home, take your gun out. If you're in a room, a safe room, unload your gun, take all the ammunition out. Take the ammunition out, triple, double. You can't check your gun too many times to make sure it's safe. But once you got 2 completely empty magazines, you don't put the ammunition in the closet somewhere, so you make sure you don't have no bullets nowhere lying around. You don't have a bullet in the chamber. Practice changing magazines. Practice just, look at how you're going to carry it. That's another thing. People buy guns, but they don't buy the accessories to go along with them. They don't buy the pouches. They don't think about, well, if I got 5 magazines, well, I'm going to keep them. Can't keep them in my pocket because you're wearing jeans. You got cargo pants, you can keep 2 magazines in each pocket, but then you got to practice drawing on magazines from those pockets. You have to practice. That's why we train so much. You train, but then it becomes reflex. But if you buy, and I'm not saying you, but when a lot of people buy systems, go out to the range, look cool, take pictures, they go home, put it up, and they really haven't learned how to use the weapon system. They really haven't, looked at what I need in addition to that. You got AK-47, now you know what you should be buying. You should try to get some magazines if you can. If you can't, give me a call. I actually got a few of those left. You should be trying to get you spare parts for it to keep with your rifle. You need to make sure you got your cleaning kit, and you need to have a bag. All that need to be included in your bug out bag also. You need to have a spare bolt if you can get one for your AK-47 just in case something happened to your bolt, a spare firing pin in case your firing pin breaks for some reason. You need to have a broken shell extractor. They don't cost that much, so in case your bullet gets jammed in there, you can put it in there and get it out. We always plan, a lot of part of our training, when we do training, we always do failure drills first. We look at everything that can potentially go wrong, and we practice on those things the most because we look at how can I solve this problem. When I take people to the range a lot of times, they'll shoot the gun to jam, and they'll stand there and look at it like, oh man, what happened? And I always fuss at people, it don't matter what happens. Tap it, rack it, get back in the game. You know what I mean? Get the gun back working. It don't matter what happened and why it happened. Just get the gun back working, and that's something you have to train on because that's the worst thing that can happen to you in a firefight. You pull the trigger and you hear that click, or nothing happens. You just encourage your enemy. So you got to be prepared where even if that happens, then you're like, oh, boom, bang, bang. Do a couple of moves and get that thing back to working. Or at least be trying to break the cover, and you shouldn't be shooting outside of cover anyway. But tactics and techniques and training, that's the way to go.
Okay.
I hope that answered you.
Yes, sir, it did. What's your take on? I got 2 questions, and I'm gonna move on. Powerball and Hornady bullets, the ones with the red tips and Powerball.
Don't mess with Powerball, and Hornady makes good ammunition with the polymer tips. But here's the thing, man. I tell people this all the time, and some people disagree with me. If you can avoid buying specialty ammo, do it. Because what happens when you shoot somebody? The number one, bullets won't knock people down. It don't matter what bullets you hit them with. That's a big myth that people have been shot with 50 calibers and kept going. People been shot in the head with 12 gauges. I've seen people get hit in crazy ways with crazy systems, and they keep going because the human body is an awesome machine. So the only thing that's happening when you shoot somebody, you're causing blood loss in most cases. That's you want to drop the person. Anything that goes inside your body that don't supposed to be there is going to cause you some problems. It don't matter if it's a full metal jacket, hollow point, or anything else. Certain bullets can be useful if in certain applications. If you're shooting in the house, like I said, for instance, you want low power bullets in the home because you don't want hollow points and frangible rounds may be better, like those Hornady rounds, because they're going to break up. They may be good to use in the house. You know, if I got an AK-47, I would buy a Hornady. If you can get some Hornady, but don't buy a lot of them. Just buy you one box and put it in one magazine, or buy two boxes, fill up, you know, a magazine and a half, and then have that as like, this is my home defense mag. And then for the rest of your magazines that you might have to use in the shit hit the fan situation, it don't matter what you load in there. Just have some bullets. You know what I mean? Because in that case, I don't want hollow points. If I'm dealing with a large group of people, like I say, I want to embed God forbid, I don't want to have to kill anybody, but if it's a lot of people attacking me, then I want to be able to get more for my money. Every shot I pull, I want to be able to hit 3 people possibly. I want to be able to send one round through him to get the person behind him who's trying to hurt me. You see what I'm saying? So cheap ammunition work better in wide situations. Home defense, then yeah, you can get you something special if you want to do it. But, you know, survival, it don't matter. As long as, you know, like my favorite saying, as long as average rushing in, blood rushing out, that person, they no longer healthy. So, you know, and you're going to still have to hit them a couple of times really to get them to stop, unless they just, you know, they kind of person that you hit, they didn't really want that kind of problem in the first place, and they break contact and start running. Then they break contact, start running, you let them go. Don't shoot nobody in the back, and don't shoot people when they stop resisting, then you stop hitting them. That's just the rule. But the only thing you're trying to do with a bullet anyway is gain compliance. You want them to stop doing whatever they started doing that endangered your life. And it don't matter what you hit them with, as long as you can get that objective achieved, then you work that out well.
Okay. My last question, and I'm done. I wanted to get me a bow and arrow. For one, they have the wheels on them at the top and the bottom. Do you think that's pretty good, or leave that alone for now?
Yeah, I think, man, do what you want to do. You know, if I had a choice between buying another gun and buying a bow and arrow, I'd buy another gun. That's just me personally. If you like bow and arrows, you know how to shoot them, you know, and, you know, I wouldn't buy one specifically for preparedness or self-defense, you know, stuff like that. If you want one, I mean, not to say you couldn't use it like that, but I wouldn't buy one specifically like that. Because once again, remember, we always want to use, we cheat. We cheat to win, we cheat to survive, because that's the fair way to play the game, is to cheat. So we want to be able to bring more force than the force that's being presented to us. Somebody got a AR-15, I don't want to fight them with a bow and arrow. I could, you know, but then that forces me to do a whole lot of thinking and a whole lot of preparation and a whole lot of, you know, trying to run and hide and get in the right position so I can try, hopefully, you know, utilize my system to disadvantage theirs. One good thing about the bow and arrow, an arrow will kill you potentially quicker than a bullet will, especially if you got a broadhead on there. People will die quicker from broadhead arrows than they will from bullets, because you have seen one, you know, they got those large razor blades on them.
Yeah, and after they go inside of you, they open up so you can't pull them out.
Yeah, and the razor, the ones with the big triangle broadheads, those things, they so sharp and so large, they create a huge wound channel in the person's body, and the person, once again, they cause more blood loss than a little, you know, 55 grain bullet or 147 grain bullet. You get more blood loss from an arrow than you do from a bullet. So a person will actually potentially lose consciousness and die quicker than being shot by an arrow than by a bullet. Now, that's one of the advantages. But at the same time, you know, unless you done really got good with your skill, and if you got the time to work that skill and you're good at it, then that would be a good weapon system. But if it's something you just are trying to learn and you don't have the time, you know, but that's an advantage of a bow and arrow over a firearm, because they will cause a person to lose. With the right head on the arrow, you would kill a person quicker than you will with any handgun or rifle, just because of the size of the broadhead and the larger size of the wound channel, and you know, you create more blood loss. So the blood pressure gonna drop quicker, and they're gonna pass out, and they're probably gonna die if they don't get any kind of assistance.
Okay, and this is my last one right here. This is my last one. I know I said that about 5 or 6 times, but as far as, you know, I want to buy me something small, maybe like a 38, and the reason I'm saying that right there is because, for one, I wanted a revolver, because a revolver, you don't have to worry about it jamming, and I But the reason I wanted is just looking at how everybody is going up in grocery stores and everywhere, just starting out to shoot. You know, do you think that right? I just need something small to, you know, just in case somebody decide they want to lose their mind in the store, and because you know a 45 in the car ain't gonna get it. So you know, I'm not saying you know it's good to take a pistol in the stores or whatever, but you know, would that just be something good? You know, something real small that you can't see. Would that be good?
I do it every day, man. I got a CW. I take my gun with me everywhere I go. I've been doing that for years.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, I agree with that too. I just
if you got, I mean, if you can legally carry, if you got your CW, you take it where you want to take it. I mean, within the law, certain places I can't take it. Can't take it to the court. Can't take it to a bar where people drink alcohol on the premise, open alcohol on the premise. Which I don't go to bars anyway. But I mean, you know, and at the same time, that's what training is very important. And that's something that a lot of places, and especially our team, us black people, we don't get in a lot of cases because even if I'm in the store and somebody starts robbing the store when I'm in there, I'm not going to intervene. That's not my business. You know, that's the store. I'm not going to engage in gunplay with somebody because they robbed the store. The store is insured. You know, that if they come and try to rob me, I gotta address them. Then I gotta shoot them because if I lift my shirt up and they see my gun, they're gonna want to take it, and I can't allow that to happen. So I might have to shoot them right off. You know, if they approach me, then I'm gonna have to shoot them. I'm not even gonna take the chance. But if they over there robbing the cashier and they taking the money and they about to head out and they telling everybody else to lay down, I'm gonna comply.
Laying down.
And then when that's over, I'm gonna pay for my stuff and leave. You know, or just go on out the store, you know, because that was a stressful moment. But, you know, those are some of the things we have to realize, too. I don't play hero, and I advise nobody to do it because the thing about when you start pulling triggers, anything can happen. It just, bullets can hit stuff, bounce off things. I mean, crazy stuff happens. So we avoid gunplay at all costs. We have the force to use it at, you know, it's always at the last moment and that, you know, at that extreme where I got to use it or lose it. But other than that, you know, they can do what they want. To answer your question, though, a good pistol, a small pistol, yeah. If you want to carry a small one, that's fine. You know, make sure you comply with the law in your area, know the law. And if you got a CCW, you should be fine. If you don't have one, I don't know why why any black person in America don't have a carry license. I mean, you got a right to have one, and unless you live in one of those slave states like New York and some of them places up north. You should have something. The first thing a black person should buy when they get 21 is a gun, or 18. I mean, looking at our history here in this country, it's insane not to. But not judging you if you don't. I'm not trying to put you down, but if you really think about it, you got more reason than a lot of people to have one. But as far as revolvers, I haven't found one yet, and I've shot a lot of them that has a light trigger. You as a man, that shouldn't be a problem. Using it in a self-defense situation should really be a problem, but they hard to train with because the triggers are generally like 12 pounds on most of them. Even the lightweight pistols have heavy triggers. So, you know, it can be problematic, man, you know, training with it, but just because the trigger's so heavy on it. So I would say get a 380 or 22 something. I understand the revolvers, they're more reliable. You got less things to do when it comes to putting them in business. So not to discount them, but just, you know, take that into fact when you get one that the triggers are generally heavy. Or if you look for one, try to find one with a real light trigger so you can train with it. Because if you don't train with it, you're not going to be good with it as you think you are. So no matter who you are, me, you, anybody.
Okay, man. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go on, brother, because I hogged enough at the time up, so I'm going to let you go on.
All right, brother.
I appreciate your questions, man.
All
okay,
right.
No problem. Thanks.
Peace, brother Reborn African.
Peace.
All right.
Hold one second. I'm sorry. Hold 1 second.
Yes, sir. And we are going to be coming straight back to the phone line. Again, 760-569-7676. Participation code 948656#. We are wrapping up, so, you know, in the next half hour or so. So if you have any questions, I wouldn't wait too long. I will go on and call in. I don't want anybody to feel like they missed out because they didn't call in. So definitely do that. And the brother will be back with us in just a moment. Let's see if he's okay. And again, your questions about survival, they could be about guns, they could be about preparedness, food storage, anything that you have a question on, feel free to call in and ask about. A lot of people, hopefully, I know Irritated Genie did a show last year, a few shows talking about preparedness. I did a show on preparedness. I have several YouTube videos on preparedness. But I know a lot of people still have questions about that. If you haven't got started, you may not know where to start. What do you do? What kind of food do you store? What kind of water purification system? A whole lot of things to take into account. A lot of us don't even have a spare roll of toilet paper saved up. So this would be the time to call in and ask your questions. You don't want to get into a situation where you need something and you don't have it because you didn't ask.
I'm back, sister. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. No problem. All right. 3271, you're live.
Damn. So you got 6 shots. Is that right? Is that how it works? 6 shots.
327.
So how do you think the gun was created that it can shoot from about?
Okay, it sounds like they're having a conversation, so I'm not going to intrude on that. You got people talking.
They have their own conversation. It's all good.
They are having a sidebar, but that's all good. So what I'm going to do, because I see a few people who have called back in, I don't know if you dropped the line or if you've come up with a question since then. So I'm going to go on and continue the conversation, but I'm going to start the question and answer queue. So if you do have a question, you can hit *6 in just a moment to get into that queue, because I don't want to keep going back if you are just lost the connection and call back in and don't have a question. So let me start that now.
Q&A session started.
All right, so from now until the end of the show, if you have a question, hit *6 and we'll try to get you in as time permits. So I'm going to try to focus a little bit on the preparedness aspect of it, since you said in a lot of ways okay, well, I'm going to make this short because people had more questions than I thought. As far as like MREs, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like we should store that kind of Army surplus food, or actually real live foods, canned goods? What do you think is the best way to go? One second. Oh, sorry. Looks like I had you muted. All right. What do you think is the best way to go?
Yeah, I don't use MREs, and anybody that's been in the military will probably tell you they didn't like them either. I always say, as far as food go, if you actually go to your grocery store, you can find a lot of things. You always want to store and stack food that you use. Of course, if you're going to put them, you're not necessarily going to have food in your pack, in your kit. Some people do that, but if you're going to put food in there, it's not going to be the best food. You're going to have to get something like maybe some of those ramen noodles, some beef jerky, and some candy, something to give you carbohydrates. But, if you're keeping it in your pack for a period of time, you're going to have to get some rough food to do that. But as far as storing food at home, people should have heirloom seeds at home, because you never know if you have to move out of the area and get somewhere. You may have some access to land. The world could a comet could hit the planet, and you could move to an area where there's now you got all this fertile land. You might want to start farming when you get there. So it's good to have heirloom seeds. It's good to have dry. I said this before. Those protein powders that those people who work out use. That's good in an emergency, because it's lightweight and you can pack it. You can buy you some of those little mylar bags. You can seal the powder in there. You can put it in tubes. It's not the best food, but it's easy because you can put it with water and it'll give you an energy boost, and it'll give you some of the chemicals that you need, albeit most people don't like chemicals. I know a lot of people are vegetarian, but we're talking about emergency situations. You can get tuna fish at the store for the people who eat meat in those little aluminum packages, just like MREs. That stuff will hold for a period of time. There's a lot of things you can do, but if you stack your food at home, don't overdo it. But create a system, a cycle for your food. Take a mark and put the date on everything you buy. Put the expiration date on there real big so you can see it in case you have to be moving through the stuff real quick. You can see the dates on them. You don't have to turn the can over, be trying to look on the back. There's a lot of little things you can do to help yourself. But buy foods that you eat. You don't want to do things too extreme. A lot of people buy a whole bunch of food and they don't even really, I got me a 5,000 cans of lima beans and 10,000 things of squash or something. If you don't eat that, then it's silly to buy all that because you never know, and you're not going to be able to carry it with you if you have to break from that area. So one of the most important things, I think it's a good idea to store food and stuff, but one of the most important things is to find out what you can eat in nature and have some plan on getting those things because you never know where you're going to be. You never know how the situation is going to play out. Have food, have toilet paper, like you said, that's a big plus. Have wet wipes. You can keep wet wipes in your pack, but even with that, a period of time, they just dry out. But at least even when that wet wipes dry out, you still can use them as toilet paper. So, it's a lot of little things you can do, a little bit more than what we can go into at this point of the show. But those are some of the things. Food is important, but buy things, noodles, dry food, dry goods, beans and stuff. You have to, it's a little bit iffy. It's good to have, but sometimes you can get bugs that are surviving beans, and if you use them on a regular basis, those bugs come out of there. You won't never. Most people don't notice it, but beans and a lot of food packages that you get in those little thin plastic bags, you got to really secure those things so that creatures don't come in there. A lot of people store food and then rats come in there and tear the thing open, or some type of insect. They go and look at it occasionally, and it'll look fine on the front, but in the back, something will drill a hole through there because insects have incredible senses of smell. And they'll smell it through the bag, and they'll drill a hole through there and bite through it, and you'll go look, you're like, oh, I got all this rice up here, then you pull it out the shelf, and then you see it spilling out because some insect or animal been back there, grubbing on it. So you got to check everything you have. You got to have a system of checks and balances on whatever you store.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we are going to go. These will probably more than likely be the last two questions of the day. I do want to tell, especially the women out there, if you've thought about food preservation, canning, dehydrating, it's really not hard to do. It's something that you should think about doing, especially with food prices going up. And if you need any help with that, feel free to contact me on Facebook. I can kind of guide you through it a little bit. But really, any book that you get can show you how to can or dehydrate, even YouTube videos. But if you're a little still scared about that and you want some help with that, just pop me a message, let me know, and I will help you with that. But I'm going to go on and get to these questions here. 9507, you're live.
Yes, this is Reborn African one more time. Right quick, do you feel as if a 300 mag is a pretty big gun?
Yeah, it is a big gun.
Hello?
Did you hear him, Brother Reborn?
Yeah, I think he addressed that question to you, though. I just said that 300 Win Mag is a big gun. It's a big caliber.
So it's too much to have?
No, some of my buddies got one. I like it. You can get ammo for it. That's one of the few things that still got ammo out there. It's a powerful cartridge. A lot of snipers use it now. You got reach. You can reach out to. If you're a good shooter, you know what you're doing and got the right scope, you can hit something out to 1,200 yards with it.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
All right. Thank you for calling in as always.
All right, peace.
Peace. I love that, brother. You got a million questions, but that's the purpose of this show. The purpose of the show is for you to get all of your questions answered so that we can do what we need to do. So don't be shy. 1414, you're live.
Oh.
Hey.
Is that me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening to both of you guys. Earlier you were talking about the lack of certain guns on the market, as well as ammunition. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we listening.
Okay. And when he was talking about that, it reminded me of a story. Hopefully you guys can hear me well because I'm driving an 18-wheeler right now, but it reminded me of a story that I saw in the Jamaica Gleaner a few years back. They were talking about the police had confiscated some guns from some gang members, and the story centered around how some of the gang members they found were actually creating their own guns. And they were, ad hoc and crude and all, but they were just concerned that they were even of a mindset to be creating their own guns. And I was wondering where we are basically on something like that, creating our own guns, creating our own ammunition, since, you know, it all falls into the hands of those other people, basically. So is that, I don't know if that's even realistic, or you know, if it's something we be thinking about. I give you guys the floor. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's actually a good question. Let me tell you something on that. You can make your own ammunition right now. People do it every day with reloading. That's something I didn't do it in the past. I didn't get into reloading because it's really you don't pay that much money with reload. Like a lot of people used to save a lot of money reloading your own bullets, but now you don't. But one of the good things about reloading, especially today, is that you'll have ammunition, and that you can make your ammunition more accurate. You can, you know, you can specialize your ammunition as far as the velocities and different loads that you might want to put on there. So that's something anybody can do. And also, now that one other thing about that too, what was crazy when I got ready to buy my reloading machine, they buying that up too. So even that's now difficult. They bought up the primers, they buying up gunpowder, they buying up the presses, they buying up the everything associated with reloading. Is, you know, because they're 10 years ahead of us in a lot of cases, and that's it's bad. But not to say reloading should come back. There's no laws banning reloading right now, so you still should be able to get the supplies and reload. Just right now, it's hard to get because they buying that up too. As far as making guns, of course, you have to have, if you're going to, like I always say, obey the law while the law is relative. You can make a gun if you want to. You can, the ATF has the application. If you want to make a gun or you design a prototype, you have to send them the information, file a form with them, be able to put a serial number on there, and according to their specification, and you can make your own gun. There's no against that, but you will have to go through the paperwork and registration with the ATF. You can't just go around with it. You'll catch a charge behind that. But you can go through the paperwork and make one. And to add one offset note, I think it's important. It would be real important if black people, especially if somebody had money, could open a school where black kids should start learning CNC machines. And this guy, one of the guys, a big guy in the gun industry, just was killed a few weeks ago, and there's a lot of conspiracy behind his death. But I'm about to mispronounce his name, but he made a LMT. He made a lot of high quality, high grade weapons, and what they were using CNC machines. Now they have a CNC machine is a computer guided machine that once you put a design into a computer, it'll cut it out. You put the metal in there, the bar stocks or whatever. You can make anything you want to make on a CNC machine. Now, a lot of those schools down south that teach you how to use the CNC machine, they used to have more, and they used to have some that were accessible to the city. I live in Atlanta. But now you got to go way out into the rural areas to find a school that teaches you how to use a CNC machine. And that's intentional because the CNC machine made it possible. You can even buy them there. I've seen them in catalogs now. They're selling them for like $8,000, $8,000 to $12,000. You can make your own gun. You can make anything you can think of really with a CNC machine. And that's something that the kids need to, parents need to be. You got kids, you should have them look into that. If they're about to graduate, that's something they need to look into. If they just learn how to be an operator on the CNC machine, they learn how to work one, then you can build whatever you want to build. And you can make a lot of money off of that. It's just, it's hard to find schools that teach that outside of rural areas, and that's specifically designed that way because they don't want you to have access to that know-how. And that's what a lot of these guys, all these gun companies that have popped up in the last 5-10 years, making these so-called exclusive parts, they ain't nothing but a bunch of white boys who went to some technical school, learned how to work a CNC machine, got their daddy or took a loan out. Instead of buying a house, they took a loan out and bought a CNC machine, rented a little warehouse, and now they're making guns, or they're making silencers, or they're making rails, or they're making, some part for a gun. And eventually people are going to start making other small objects with it, and, it's a lot of money in it. So that's answering his question. The CNC machine is something that if you have young people who trying to figure out what to do, they need to figure out a way to learn how. If they're so inclined, they're going to figure out that would be a good direction to go into.
Wow. That is definitely good information. Now, as we wind down, I do want to make sure that we get some of your information out too. I know that you had mentioned, of course, you have a business, you have a website. What's the web address for your website, and what kind of products do you offer?
Our website is ruggedworks.net. That's the word rugged and works, ruggedworks.net, ruggedworks.net. We sell tactical gear, outdoor supplies, survival gear. I sell a lot of products, but I do more classes now than I do anything. But our water straws, it's hard to get ammunition now, but gun parts, accessories, outdoor products, those are the things we sell. And, anybody interested, they can go check out the site at www.ruggedworks.net, not .com, but .net. And, we got a webpage, of course, you can look it up online and find that. And, of course, you got, Asafo Gun Club, which we have on Facebook. Both Rugged Works and Asafo are on Facebook. But we do most of our kind of like information sharing on Asafo. Rugged Works is kind of like for everybody, and Asafo is kind of more specialized for what I intended to be more for us. So.
Okay, so if I wanted to get like a good pair of boots or some pants that you was telling us about, since we shouldn't wear denim, can I get those kind of things from you, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those, and then what I do, and I'm updating my cart now. We have access to every tactical manufacturer out there. I don't have everything on the cart, but anything you need, I can get. Even if I recommend. It's so much information. We're a small business, but we have access, and it just takes time to load all that stuff online. We got a lot of stuff on there now, but boots, pants, BDUs, anything you need, tactical, night vision, even, thermal, we can get all that stuff. So it's no problem. You can go on the website. We got a lot of stuff up there now, but anything you don't see along those lines, just give me a call. And I always tell people too, everybody's situation is unique. I'm always open. My phone up down there is on the website, so just give me a call and we can talk about your situation in particular. Because I do more consulting to build packages and I don't like just generally telling you, hey, go get this, go get that, go get this, and you don't know how to use it and you don't know what it's for. That don't make sense. But I like to talk to people and find out what they're trying to achieve, and then I can kind of put a package together for you to suit your needs. Because that's just the reality of that's the way it should be done.
Okay, and what kind of classes do you offer? Is it just in the Atlanta area or down south, or do you guys go all over?
Pretty much down. I got some friends up your way. They've been talking about having me come out there a long time. I told them to put something together, put some money together, and I don't do it purely for the money, but it's a business. If I'm coming up there, I don't want to come up there and train people and I have to incur a cost to do it. That don't make sense.
Right.
I'll go anywhere people want me to come, if they tell me ahead of time. We mainly train here in Atlanta and in Florida sometimes. We got an event coming up in Florida this week. That's our major event. We're going to be doing survival and firearms training and defensive training. So that's gonna be a whole weekend event, take about 3 or 4 days. But that's what we do. We do a lot of hiking. We do springtime come around. We do edible, medicinal plants. We go out and look at what's in our area and what we can eat and how to go about processing and stuff like that. But that's about it.
Okay. And I know you said pretty much it's too late for a lot of ammo and stuff like that. Do you think it's worthwhile, if you have like a 24-hour Walmart in your area or something like that, to go out tonight and just see what they have before tomorrow hits and they make whatever announcements they're going to make, or is it pretty much a wrap?
Yeah, but now one thing too, I try to tell you, we don't operate in fear, we operate in power. So I don't want people to be afraid because I said that. It is the truth. But I don't want people to be nerved up and feel like, oh, man, I need to rush out. You can rush out to Walmart, really, to be honest, all you want. I doubt they're going to have anything because I think Walmart put out something saying they weren't going to they took the AR-15s off the market, and they were acting real shitty about replenishing their stocks from what the rumor mill is saying. Because like in our areas, they haven't replenished any of their gun stocks. All their shelves are pretty much empty. And then other areas, because I go out to those areas, they still have stuff like the 300 Win Mag that guy was asking about. That's a good choice to go with right now, but that's a very powerful rifle. anybody can shoot any gun. You can shoot any gun out there, but that don't mean you'll want to shoot it. It might not be as pleasant for you as shooting something like a 243 or 223. Any major bolt action caliber from 30-06, from 243 on up to 300 Win Mag. 300 Win Mag is like kind of at the top of one of the rounds is at the top of the general commercial range. You're not gonna find too many cartridges heavier than that in like Walmart. You'll find bigger cartridges in some gun store, but not in Walmart. I don't think Walmart carry anything heavier than 300 Win Mag. They may have 338, something like that sometimes, but that's rare. But I'll go look. I'll definitely go look. And you can't go wrong buying ammunition. If you see something, even if you don't have the gun, I mean, get the ammunition. You never know. You might be able to barter and trade that. Even if you don't get the 2 boxes, you just never know. But make sure it's something, like If you can find 9mm 22 or 45, it might behoove you to buy a box or 2. You might could trade and sell it at some point. You might come across one. You never know.
Okay.
So, but don't do anything rash. Don't do anything you don't have to do. And if you broke, definitely don't go spending money you don't really have. So, do what you can. Just the key thing, like I said, start planning now. I mean, you're behind the curve and it's late in the evening and we never know what's going to happen. But now is the time, if you do nothing else, to start thinking.
Yes, sir.
Just use your brain.
Well, we thank you so much for joining us today. You've given us so much information. I know everybody has gotten a lot from it. That's why a lot of people are just listening in, because you're giving so much information. It's like, wow, let's even just process this. Did you have any closing thoughts before we left you? Any upcoming, I know you said you have the event in Florida, any upcoming programs or anything like that you'd want to promote, or any ideas you want to leave us with?
To be honest with you, no. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you, giving me a chance to, share with your audience. And one thing I was gonna say, whatever videos you do, feel free to share them on Asafo. Okay. That's what it's for. It's an open forum. We don't just post. We invite people. If you know how to do something, or you got some kind of skill set, you want to show the people how to do it. That's what the page is for. So if you dehydrating food or whatever you know how to do, I don't care if it's 100 videos online showing how to do it. If you know how to do something that's useful, and of course I know you're not gonna do anything silly, then put it on site.
Sounds good. Definitely sounds
that's about
good.
it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate y'all. Peace and have a good one.
Peace. All right. Well, that was definitely a very good informative show. I knew it would be. That brother inspire every time I hear him. You don't want to go on and tune off yet, because we do have the Cypher coming up, and they have a very special guest today. It will be Mama Ya Baruti. They're going to be discussing womanhood development, so that will definitely be a rare treat. Usually we only hear from her once a month on the Abibi Fahodie show, but we have her again tonight. So go on and stay tuned, and we're going to go on and wrap up. So hang on, and DJ will be with you in just a moment.
Yo, Pigs, checking that truck, guard. What? Yeah, I caught another one. Yeah, baby beast. It's my 3rd track of this week. Yo, I dropped one off the building. Word. Where we gonna dump him? East River? Yep. Alright. Hey, yo, back here. Yeah, peace to the guard. I got a cracker in the trunk of my car. Homie dumped the body. Caught the cracker slipping, so I hit him with the shot. He said I caught the cracker slipping, so I hit him with the shot. Caught him in the lobby, fully stressed him like Pilates. So I left his body, twitch and shotty, kicking like karate. Need a place to hide, so the police never find me. They never take me in eye, with no jury ever try me. My Asafo Gun Club through a cracker grimy. He could be white trash or a crooked ass Jaime. This is for the slave ship. This for Troy Davis. This for every cracker talking greasy on the day ship. It could be your kid bitchin', I'ma let the game trip. You really got it confused if you thinking that I'm racist. I'm just a deadly weapon to guard. I bang hard and I'm repping my squad. This a lesson to y'all. This is justice, I'm correcting the wrongs. You're in the mall.